welcome back to my workshop and another video. Today we're going to be doing sharpening on the world's most probably well-known modern EDC knife. That is the Benchmade 940. If we're looking a little more traditional, it would probably be something like a K-slip joint, Buck 110 maybe would have been up there probably as the most well-known. But today, this is one you see a lot, and I've had quite a few people mention it lately. They've seen me use it in videos and stuff. So I thought we'd do a little tune-up, and she's rough. I take pretty good care of this knife, but of course it is a full-on user. This is my most carried knife, so it does get dirty. This was actually a gift to me from a subscriber years ago. What an incredible gift, and he actually had my initials etched in there before he had it sent to me. Just beautiful. But you see we're pretty dirty there. We're going to clean it up now. Our edge is a little rough. We've got some chips and nicks along there where I've been really giving this thing a hard go, so we're going to take care of it. Now, brake cleaner is pretty much whatever your opinion on it is, pretty much my go-to for something like this. Now, once you're done sharpening it and maintaining it, and if you're using it for peeling your apple or something like that, or cutting up your dinner at work, yeah, give it a good wash afterwards. There we go. I figure some of you are probably eyeing this row of knives here on the bench. Dad and I have been hard at work. We did a bunch of handle finishing yesterday. And this batch is pretty much, except for the leather work, is ready to go out now. Let's have a look here before we get to sharpening. Thank you all so much for your support. Right here, I'll show you this one just because this customer lucked out. Whoever this one gets sent to, it's already purchased. But we did a buckskin Dymalux handle, which is very beautiful as it is. It's a wonderful material. This is a Prevail pattern, by the way. But have a look right here. This is the first time I've seen an inclusion of any type of anything like extra interesting in a piece of Dymalux. So it looks like a little bit of burl here. Isn't that gorgeous? When I started grinding away the material and I saw that, wow, I said this client really lucked out with this one. Thong tubes in the handle, just really, really lovely. But isn't that beautiful? Forge finish on the blade, black Prevail forge finish, and a little smudgy there. A green liner. Bake apple ready to go out, forge finish, Scandi grind. These need the very final cleanup and leather cheese. We don't have the leather done for them yet, but it's a green liner, natural canvas micarta. Love that natural canvas. Really, really sweet. This is just such an awesome little knife. It gets so much love on this pattern. Never gets old for me making it or seeing them. I just enjoy it so much. Perfect little companion EDC knife. Little caping skinning knife, small game knife. It's just like a little camp knife or your food knife. You can imagine how good this would be. It's got a full 3-finger grip there, no problem. Last one, custom ordered Tuckamore. Tuckamore's in 1/8 steel. It's got a Scandi grind on it and a burgundy canvas micarta there, which is beautiful. Polished brass pins. Beautiful. Now I know you guys enjoy this part, so let me show you the edge before we start under the microscope here. Okay, so let's have a look at the damage on this edge. It was pretty much a polish before. You can see nice fine grain structure on the edge, but look, this is what I mean by it's needing some attention there. Look at those chips and rolls. I believe there's a bad dent. Oh, some of these are real bad. There's a bad dent back here. Right there. That's a nasty one. And then back all the way to the heel actually looks quite nice. So pretty obvious to see where I'm doing the bulk of my damage, as you would expect. Try to slow down for your eyes to catch that. There. So some nasty damage. Let's take it to the Coarse stone and fix that up. Okay, let's start with one of my favorites here, and that is the Shapton Kuromaku Blue Black, a 320 grit stone. Now, once again, I put this away dirty last time. You might think that's clean, but it is not. I'll show you what a clean surface looks like. Again, that Nagura, gotta get yourself one. This Nagura has been there soaking since the last video. This stone is soon going to need a flattening, I can tell just by how it feels on the Nagura. It's fine for this knife, but still going to need to take down the ends. Let's have a look and see how clean we've got it here. Now that's a pretty clean stone. Notice we still have a little bit right here. Still have some little inclusions of metal particle, but that won't bother us, not that little bit. I'll take the knife. I always start pulling toward me, or start on this side with the edge toward me. You want to lay your knife on the stone. Now this one has a thumb stud that's right in the way, depending on your sharpening angle. Some people take it out when they're sharpening. I don't bother because it doesn't interfere. I keep a fairly steep angle on this. The factory angle on the 940 is actually really steep. This is a stout knife. Notice it doesn't have a real fine piercing tip. It's ground pretty thick. This is a really tough EDC knife. I use this as a screwdriver. I use this as a pry tool. It's no wonder that people love it so much. It's just a great knife. But we'll throw it on just like this, and I'll tip it up until my shadow disappears under that edge. Now I always find this difficult to show, but it's such a good tool for you to incorporate to your sharpening. By the way, look at all those nicks in that blade. You can see them with the naked eye there. They're so big. If you look there now, I'm using a flashlight here. If you look under that blade edge, okay, I'll do it to pronounce. Look at that black shadow under the edge right here. If there's a shadow, clearly your edge is not proper. So now let's tip down on this plane here. This would be your primary grind. I'm going to tip down, and you can see if I angle the light a certain, right there, you can see it very pronounced there. That's still that black line, that shadow under the edge. I'm going to start rolling the knife up until that shadow disappears. And when that as soon as that shadow disappears, that's going to be your angle. That'll be your sharpening angle, unless you want to change that, but most people don't. You stick with the factory grind. That's the angle you're going to try to hold when that shadow disappears, because that means you have fully contacted this secondary bevel. It has made contact with the stone surface, and that's what you want. If there's shadow, then you're going to be taking off the shoulder between the primary and the secondary edge. I hope that's clear to you all. Implement that trick. I think you'll really find it helpful. Some people will color their edge with a marker. I've never done that, or I tried it a few times, but I didn't like it. So we're going to tip until that shadow disappears. We're going to try to hold that angle. Of course, human error. We're not robots. We don't have fixed positions. Our bodies are fluid. So we're not going to be able to perfectly hold that angle. We'll do our very best. You're always going to get a little amount of convexing there. That's just going to happen. I'll work back and forth strokes. Because this knife has such a long straight edge, I won't do every pass the full length of the edge. I'll work one part for a while, and then I'll work up on the nose like this, the curved part. And maybe I'll go back to the straight edge here, and then I'll go up to the curved part. On the end, eventually, I'll start making sure those edges make one continuous sweep nicely. But it's not rocket surgery here. Let's wet down the stone. If it ever starts to get like milky like that or pasty, you want to loosen that up with some water. I don't like that on my stone. And we can check now. Let's just check under this milky water here to see if our stone is getting dirty, and it's not. And I just checked my edge, and we don't have quite the results that we're looking for yet. So I'm just gonna keep going here for a little bit longer. Okay, so when I'm looking at this primary bevel here now on the face that we've sharpened, remember this side is down, so this is the face that we've been sharpening. I can see we have nice striations. We've contacted all of that, and we've sharpened pretty much to an apex on this side, so right to that edge. We haven't sharpened enough yet to remove steel back, to remove all those dents and chips. We'll focus on getting that far once we get to the other side. So let's do the same thing with this side now. You can either still roll edge in so you can see your shadow, or I usually sharpen edge away when I'm doing this. This really comes down to personal taste, what you practice with, what you feel most comfortable with. I can do either, but this is usually what I prefer. Okay, now I wouldn't check my edge at this point because I know I'm not quite done, but I just want to show you guys where we are. So I'm looking here, and you can see this bevel has nice scratches all the way down. So we're getting real close. Got those 320 grit scratches. But you can see right here, you can see we have slight, let me just get over it, dead center screen right now. Still a little hint of a blade chip. Getting up here near the toe, we have a couple, we have a couple little nicks there. Still have a big one right there, center screen. And up at the toe, we've got to focus a little more. Let's wet our stone down. We've seen now that we have to focus a little more on the toe of the knife. So I'll go ahead and start working that into the stone. Again, most of those things we can see without the microscope, but I just can't, I'm not able to show them to you without the microscope, because this camera I'm filming on here won't allow me to focus on that. So I'm only focusing now. It would be silly if we were doing full length passes on the entire blade at all times. We've achieved a nice sharp edge or an apex back here, removed all those dents before up here. In my opinion, it would be silly to keep removing steel from all of this portion of the blade when we don't need to. So now we're getting real close to being finished. I'll switch to single passes like this. Cutting strokes. Cutting meaning going into my edge. And now, we're not going to do a microscope right now, but if we were, you'd see that nice even scratch pattern the whole way along without any of those nicks or chips. So a nice clean edge all the way to the tip. And now to my beloved Shapton Glassstone 1000. What a great stone this is. You can see got some steel particle left in there. Got some little bit of staining up here from the sink. So I'm going to wet this down, give it a little wipe, and see where we are. Okay, so we got particle here that's not releasing. I want to get rid of that. I want a nice, clean, fresh slate to work with. Remember, this Nagura is a lot softer than your Whetstone, especially like with this ceramic shapton here. So it's not like it's going to be carving away at your nice stone surface. There we go. Beautiful. And repeat the exact same process. Edge towards, or for my case, sit until that shadow disappears. Start working. Don't get too caught up in exactly how many strokes per side. Switch to the tip there, a little bit of work. Slow down just so you can see there. I'm keeping pressure with my finger here on the tip. Okay, before I switch sides now, let's have a look at the condition of our stone, because I don't want to keep working on this messy stone like that. So we have, see, these are inclusions. It's not just color. For there to be color there, there has to be particle there. That is metal particle. Now that's not a lot. I wouldn't necessarily always get rid of that, but for video's sake today, I just want to show you guys how effective that Nagura is, because I want you to get better at your sharpening and have a wonderful experience doing it. Now look at that stone we have. Now that is all fresh, beautiful ceramic. Oh, and it cuts so good after that with all that fresh particle exposed. Okay, let's switch to single cutting strokes before we can go and take a look at our edge here now after the 1000. See if we're done with the 1000. You could clean your stone up before you finish with just to help make sure you have superb results and help you to see better what you're doing, but a couple passes on that long straight there. Let's go have a look. Trying to give you guys as much information as possible without being here, so have a look at that edge. If I can get the lighting right here. Off of that 1000 grit stone, have a look at the level of polish. There you go. You can kind of see it up near the toe there now. We have light reflecting off that edge. This is a beautiful edge right off that 1000. As much as most people would ever need. Let's take a quick look at it under the microscope, and you can clearly see the reflections. Look at the light there. Nice crisp edge all the way along, very minimal burr. Got a part right there where I kind of missed getting right to the apex. Looking good all the way up. Beautiful. Look at that right there. Nice and crisp, almost no burr. We could be done right there. And now, just because I'm trying to make this as information dense as possible, I've had a lot of questions lately about what are the best setups I can get to start out. Let's take some just standard weight printer paper. This is just your standard printer paper. Now this knife hasn't been stropped. We've just roughly sharpened it on that 1000. This isn't a perfect result on a 1000 because this is my own knife and I don't give it the same attention and care that I would with like a client's knife. But let's just have a look here. That's off of that 1000 grit shapton. And with some stropping, of course, we could refine that even more. Have a look at that. You let me know if those results would be good enough for you to use on a regular basis for your EDC knife. And just for comparison, this is one of my own strops here. This is a bare piece of leather. Look at that, the glossy finish it develops. Again, just like mentioned in a previous video, those barbers back in the day, anytime they grab their strop to touch up the straight razor, give it a wipe down with their skin. Your skin has those natural oils in there, and eventually your leather takes on that kind of burnish finish, which is really nice. I'm just going to use just a bare leather. We're just going to give this knife a few passes. And I am using a bit of pressure here. This is an uncompounded strop. An S30V steel, it can handle some pressure. won't hurt, and it'll just give you better results, make it a little more efficient. Being careful with my stropping here now, keeping my angle nice. Look at that light gleaming off that edge. Again, 1000 ceramic. Let's just see if it's any smoother here, if we can detect any improvement. Let's just give it another little try here. So that's it for this one. If you liked it, please let me know by hitting that like button. Before we finish out, have a look at that view. Subscribe to my channel if it's your first time here. Make sure to leave me a comment down below. Let me know what else you'd like to see me sharpen, and I'll see if I can get it done. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.